Hello and welcome above the plane. This is Jake Lawrence. Today, I want to talk about just something that's been on my mind and that I think is relevant to the times we live in, the energy that's out there and around us all over, and not judging it, not good or bad. You know, there's some things that I believe I feel like they're kind of a trigger for me when people say it or when their energy is a certain way because of a certain circumstance. And, I don't think this was taught to any of us really. Um, just the power of our own consciousness. Okay. Like our ability to create our outside world based on the thoughts, recurring thoughts, the viewpoints, the limitations, the exaltations, all those things that we have. And for me, this is a key element to coaching that is harder to approach casually because it's so deep, right? Because the you really have to spend time and thought. Go back to either how you were raised or some of the highlights in your life, or if you've had successes that you deem were important to you, like what led to that, you know, what behaviors, what actions, attitudes, all those things, sacrifices, and think about how either that's been applied throughout your life or it hasn't been applied for a long time. Um, when somebody comes to me, generally, they're confident they can make a change. They're not on the fence. They're not, you know, wondering how this will go. They've kind of come to the place where it's this is going to be the step, um, you know, the teammate, the partner that I'm going to have along this journey, and then that journey just keeps rolling, no matter what changes, because things change, like I've moved a few times in my life, brought many clients with me, and many clients stayed behind, and hopefully, my hope is that when you do have that connection, that what you learned or what you felt, from the positive aspects of that continues forth, somehow. Or if it's been left behind, you've kind of prioritized other things or whatnot. It's the convenience factor is gone, all those things. You can kind of re-energize yourself, um, just knowing that that energy is still out there, right? So it's there to be absorbed. You just got to go put your own sweat equity into it. You got to burn some energy to, again, gain some of that energy back. And so, we are creatures that are easily emotionally upset. We kind of form opinions based on information and then kind of live and die by those opinions. And I've tried hard the past few years. I slip a lot, um, slip up a lot, but I've tried hard to not have those really hard opinions about anything outside of myself because I don't know what the truth is. I don't know what the truth is sincerely. Um, I can know what I feel. I can have an intuitive response when I hear something. Um, but that's not always to be trusted. That intuition is very applicable in certain scenarios, but not in every one. So at least for me, it's what I found. And it keeps me a little bit more open, but also I raise eyebrows when people are um, really opinionated about things, okay, outside of themselves, um, nothing you can do about it. We've all confronted that. We've all felt that way before. um, but what I'm getting at here is when you start to strip things down, right? So if you get rid of this idea that there is a leader, someone to be followed, somebody who has a message like a messiah, any of those things, um, famous celebrity, athlete, somebody who has the attention, okay, based on their position in society. As soon as if you can get it in your head, those people know nothing that can truly help you, you can begin to see the power of your own thoughts. Okay. So, this energy that comes from within, right, is directed by your consciousness. Okay. The things you think about, okay, what you define yourself as. A lot of it's use this term I am, you know, and that energy that you create and bring, if it's true and honest and strong, tends to become reality. You know, there's certain things that can make you nervous, scared, apprehensive, but those are all kind of outside energy, right? It's kind of you're worried about what others are going to think of you, how they're going to label you, you know. But what matters most is how you label what happened to you yourself, you know. And this is the power of trusting yourself, and this idea that you can trust yourself, you can be your biggest critic, your biggest fan, right, needs to be exercised all the time on a daily basis, pretty much everything you do, right? Attitude is key. There's certain things that I know I need to work on attitude wise. There's certain opinions, I have that are triggered and I feel like I can't control them, those are things I need to work on, right? We all have it, but what it begins with is a recognizing that that's happening, right? And once you develop that sort of power, you start working, exercising it, utilizing it. Start with the really easy way. For me, obviously, it's the things I feel like I'm good at. That feeling manifests as fact, right? Because I'm telling the world, showing the world, this is the fact. Okay. And then the world accepts that, right? They see it. They have no reason to think differently. If they do, it's from smallness of self, their smallness of self. Okay. So start with the easiest way possible. If you feel success in work, you feel energized, you're doing a good job, you know, the results kind of flow and follow that affirm that. Utilize that. Take it into your fitness. Okay. Someone like me who's, been doing this forever, always had an affinity and confidence for it. Um, I feel it that way. So that's why I work out, right? That's part of the reason why I repeatedly work out. Mhm. Not just because I have a goal and event, but because it's a way for me to exercise that self control, right? To exude energy, um, just to feel that vibrant connection with life, with the planet, and anything where I can direct confidence, even if there's an unknown, maybe guaranteed discomfort, I'll enter into those situations. Long bike rides, long hikes, runs, you know, long planks, things that are uncomfortable, but they allow me to feel like I'm growing. Okay. Working with new clients that may be challenging for me to connect with, finding a way to help them, not seeing it as, not writing it off as, this is not my niche, or this client and I probably don't mesh. It's more of a game. So it's me figuring out how to connect, how to help this person, because they're coming to me in a time of need and desire. Okay. So I need to step up and take that challenge. If I look at my life, there's a lot of areas where I put myself in kind of challenging, stressful situations. And I think subconsciously, meaning this is just happening. Okay. Subconsciously, I know that I'm growing when I'm in those situations. And so if you look at your life, and if it's smaller, like you don't have many of those opportunities, whether in hobby, work, yeah, fitness, athletic endeavors, you know, social settings, you probably need to start expanding that. Okay. To feel that vibrance in life. Okay. To understand that you don't need to absorb from the outer world. Okay, opinions, fears, associations, entertainment, the really gross stuff that happens in movies, the messaging, society's constant bombardment with marketing, advertising, in anything, that's just not coming from you, doesn't feel right, that stuff probably needs to be limited. But that stuff comes into your reality when you're not stressing yourself, when you're not pushing your envelope, when you're not stretching. Okay. So it's like there's certain things that shrink you and there's certain things that stretch you. And those things, those those things that are uncomfortable, when you engage with them, you stretch it. You're stretching your boundary. Okay. You're growing. But this awareness, if you're doing this as a self-taught person, you've got to have a journal and you got to start somewhere. Look at the easiest ways. Like I said, look at your job. Okay. Analyze your mindset, analyze your energy, analyze the conversations you get in surrounding your job. Okay. Do you have a victim mentality? Right? Have you been, what that means? The victim mentality is just somebody else is in charge. Again, going back to that thing that there's a leader or some sort of a arbiter of your success or, your ability to um, achieve anything, right? Which is false. Okay. The energy you bring changes all situations. And so, what can you do, okay, to make sure what you are projecting is what you want to project? Okay. Now it's like this, you can't go two ways, right? So you can't have an idea, you can say you want to do something, but the behavior that follows won't mimic that. Okay. What you want to do is you want to have that idea and then make sure the behavior follows. That's the only way it's going to come to fruition, right? So if you have an idea, but then you get in the setting and your nervous energy takes over and you kind of clam up or you resort to this defensive, um, lower performing human, okay, that's what we got to fix, right? So you want to get to where you're bringing your best self, right? Not perfect, just your best, right? Like, what does the world need from you? How can you, um, like, what percentage of your best do you need to continually bring, right, to those situations? And I think if you see a big flux, right, in how you approach things or your nutrition, if you're constantly yo-yoing, fitness, if you're not seeing gains or you get on and off a bandwagon, you're fluctuating too much, right? So you need to find balance where, instead of going from like 60% of your best up to 95%, you're maybe hovering right around 85% most of the time, right? So there's some wiggle room. You're a solid B performer, right? But maybe that's what you need across the board to feel stable, to start building. So conversations I have, they kind of go over the place. They kind of flow. Um, Here, I think we've ended up in a good place. Okay, this place of bringing the energy that you want to see, like choosing the person you want to be. Okay, and then affirming it for yourself, in yourself, for yourself. Okay, so growth, change is an active process, but it can be immediate, right? You choose one thing, you drop the other thing, right? And so that's like not reliving the past. It's just choosing to be different in that moment. And so there's this, I think that's where this idea of forgiveness comes from, because if that's true, if we believe that's true, anyone can redeem themselves or forgive anyone else in an instant, right? And these are just choices we make. Um, I think it's easy to not do that. It's easier and it's tougher, which is the path we should take. It's tougher to approach it from that other angle. And so, again, this conversation is obviously self-driven, self-directed. helps me to have it because I can confront some of these things for myself as I talk it out, but hopefully help you understand some of these things that go into it, or some of the powerful aspects of like the opportunity you have of being a human being and pursuing your own excellence. Like I see it all the time and it's impressive, but it's not flashy. It's consistent. Okay. It's conscientious, right? So it's choosing to be this way. And then it just carries, it's something that kind of goes with you into all situations. So I want to build people up. I want to build you up. Okay. I want to build myself up because when we go out into the world, we want to have a ripple effect. Okay. We want to make sure that just our energy, not any actions we take for a specific result, but just energy, enthusiasm, and interest affects the world, and maybe brings more people into this mindset, this way of being. So with that, it's been Jake Lawrence coming at you from above the plane. Until next time, keep on keeping on.